welcome back to the Late Late Show, where my next guest is a pop icon, a style legend, and a creative trailblazer who over 4 decades has transcended music, fashion, and the ages, and continues to inspire and provoke as a singer, a DJ, an artist, and a fashion designer. We are delighted to welcome him back to Ireland. Would you please give it up for the original Karma Chameleon, Boy George? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We've all made an effort. Some of us have made an effort. We're all very excited. You're here.
Me too.
I've been checking our star signs. I think are we compatible or?
Well, it doesn't really work like that.
No?
It's
okay.
it's more about like, when you know what someone is, you know, kind of certain things, how you talk to certain people.
Okay.
Can be, knowing what they are is useful to know what they are.
So I'm Aquarian.
With an Aries moon.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So quick to rage.
Yes, that's right. Furious.
Emotionally angry.
Yes.
Also, Aquarians don't listen to anyone, so...
My
mum and dad were both Aquarian.
You've got me.
Born on the same day my mum and dad, they met on their birthday.
Really?
So I'm an expert on Aquarians.
Oh, wow, because we were talking about, your Irish background. How much of that, you flew over on your Irish passport today?
First time I used it today,
wow.
Yeah. I breezed through. It was great. Somebody said to me, did you get it because of, Europe? I was like, no, I got it because of my mum. I didn't get it to shorten the queue. It's just one of those things, first of all, I didn't realise I could have one. And then when I realised I could have one, I thought it would be a nice thing, because I lost my mum a couple of years ago, so having the passport is like, see, I'm not a plastic paddy anymore.
No.
I'm officially Irish.
Growing up, with your mum and dad Irish, I know that was, by osmosis, it was all there for you, wasn't it?
Well, being called O'Dowd.
It's a bit of a clue, isn't it?
O'Loud, O'Dowd,
yeah.
O'Gay, all of that. I got all of that.
Your mum and dad, they never really forgot their roots, did they? Dublin and Tipperary.
Well, my mum, obviously, my mum, when she got older, she always used to come to Ireland and get better. If she wasn't well, when she came here, it was like going to Lourdes or something, going home to her family, just changed everything for my mum. She always wanted to live here, but she would never leave London because of my sister and her kids. She had a really close relationship with my sister, but my mum's dream was always to come back and live in Ireland, but it never really happened.
You are here because you have a new exhibition. Yes. Down at Newbridge Silver, where you are showing off your gunas, your outfits from over the years. What was it like to go back into the past and pick these outfits and the memories that go with them?
Finding things that I had when I was 16, that was the real trip. Like going, oh my God, I've still got that jacket. So some things obviously have fallen apart. The thing about when you're doing something as a teenager or in your 20s, you don't really think of it being iconic until later. Iconic is in retrospect. No one knows they're being iconic when they're 16 or 25. That doesn't mean anything. No. It's only when you get older and, people start referencing it, and then you realise it meant something. So...
But when you put them all together, nobody... the idea of you going back into the closet is probably not on anyone's bingo card. But, when you see all the outfits together, it's a match made in heaven.
It is, and I think that, it's kind of like a history thing, There's so many things that, relate to music I loved, things that I did, love affairs. There's so many interesting things. Clothes definitely tell a story. I think people probably think I'm more obsessed with clothes than I am. I'm not particularly obsessed with clothes. I love clothes because I think they can be a great way to kind of, change the way you feel about yourself. I'm a kind of invention. I think I've kind of invented myself, my sort of ordinary self. George from Eltham just didn't work for me. So, making myself more interesting was what it was all about.
For you, it's always been about the music, but obviously the style in that era.
I think anyone that you love, Bowie, Prince, Madonna, all of those people had both. They had style and great music. Elvis Presley. I think, you know, anyone that you know that's iconic, you remember what they were wearing. Elvis's gold suit, Madonna's comb bra, Prince's high heels. You know, I think it is important. I think fashion and music go hand in hand.
It's interesting you talk about that notion of not knowing you're iconic at a certain time. I mean, I remember, you know, watching Top of the Pops, watching you, and even back then, I knew I was watching something special. We got a little clip of you in one of the outfits we actually have here. You come and go, you come and go. Come a chameleon. You come and go, you come and go. Nothing would be easy if your colors were like my dream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Come a chameleon. So good. It's so good. And that's that outfit there.
It is, yeah. Amazingly, actually, it's survived. Because a lot of things, obviously, have fallen apart. You know, but there's certain things that have stayed around, you know. The tartan thing my mum made me when I was 16. And my mum was a great seamstress. But I remember, like, she had this pattern for, like, normal trousers. And I was like, no, it's got to be bigger. Cut it wider. And she'd go, look like a clown. I was like, exactly. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be extreme. So my mum was very, like, kind of... She sort of became my collaborator at a certain point.
But there was a point where she was sort of slightly reticent, wasn't she? About,
she used to stand in front of the door. And she'd say to my dad, look what he's wearing. You know, and she'd say, look what he's going out. And my dad would just lower his paper and go, if he wants to get beat up. And, you know, I didn't really care, because you don't when you're 17 or 16. You think, you shit what anyone thinks.
I mean...
Nothing's changed, really. I don't really care now.
No. You know, but looking at that now and knowing that was made by your mum, and I know you mentioned, you know, that she passed away a few years ago. You carry her with you closely, don't you?
She's always with me, yeah, totally. I mean, my mum was very, like, opinionated, like most Aquarians. Yeah. She always had something to say. And I always know what she would say whenever I'm sort of, you know, have an issue or a problem. Basically, get on with it, was my mum's, you know, always go-to reply. You know, not stop moaning about it, deal with it, it'll be over in 5 minutes. And that's always true.
I also love, though, that idea that wherever you go now, no matter where you are in the world, you have that little chat with her. You know, there's a lovely thing about you were in the Moulin Rouge in...
Well, people say talking to yourself is the first sign of madness, but I actually think it's the first sign of sanity. I think talking to yourself is really important, you know, because changing the way you think about things. I mean, I always feel like my mum, when I was in Moulin Rouge, there was this one night where I almost fell on someone in the pit, and it would have been a tragedy. And I felt like my mum pulled me up. Now, whether she did or not is irrelevant. You know, I feel like, you know, when my mum died, I kind of felt like there's no holes in the universe. Where can you go? No one really leaves. If you believe in kind of frequency and energy, you know, just because you're not matter, it doesn't mean that you don't still exist in some way, which might sound crazy, but then people that believe in God, are they crazy?
Well, it's also that thing, isn't it, that...
Are you crazy?
But it is also that thing, isn't it, when, you know, when you lose someone, as long as you carry them with you, you know, part of them is always going to be there.
Well, you never lose them because, you know, we talk about my mum all the time. You know, my mum lived with my sister for 25 years. So, you know, my little niece and nephew, we always talk about my mum, how she was so controlling. She was like, let's make a cake, and she'd just take over. Sound familiar? You don't make cakes?
No. Maybe I could. Maybe I need to.
My mum was like, there was one way to do things, and it was my mum's way.
Yes.
She was very good at everything. You know, my dad would, like, knock down a wall.
What have you gotten from her, and what have you gotten from your dad, do you think?
I think determination, you know, sort of, you know, my dad would knock down a wall in the kitchen, and it would be knocked down for 6 years, and my mum would get a book and learn how to bricklay, and she'd fix it. So my mum was one of those people that could do anything, which is very, maybe Irish or Aquarian, I don't know, but my mum, yeah, she just always got on with things. And I think that's what I got from my mum. And also, you know, my dad, I mean, obviously now I have a really good relationship with my dad. I think about him with real fondness now. I miss him probably now more than I ever did, you know, because I sort of understand him a bit more than I did when I was a kid, you know. He was definitely a product of his own upbringing.
And there's that acceptance, isn't there, with time about how people are and how people were and what that means.
And there were a lot of good things about my dad, you know. He was very cool about me being gay, didn't care. You know, he came up to me and like grabbed my shoulders and he goes, "These are all yours." And I was like, "Actually, there's shoulder pads in there." Yeah. But, you know, he was very cool. You know, my parents were very open-minded. They weren't uptight. They weren't small-minded. You could, you know, really talk to them about anything. So I feel that's a real luxury, you know, because there's a lot of people that don't have that support from their families, but I definitely had that. So I never felt ostracised by my family.
London is home at the moment. I saw you putting a message up yesterday. You were passing those horrific attacks in Golders Green.
I was in Golders Green on Wednesday morning. Weirdly, I was going to see my doctor, and I kind of obviously couldn't get to the street where I was going to because there was a lot of chaos and stuff. And you know, I've kind of had a lot of abuse online for my support of my Jewish friends. But if you've got an Amy Winehouse record, you're probably going to hell. To get over it, you know. I mean, it's like, for me personally, you know, growing up, I've had so many beautiful Jewish friends, and I still have. And being asked to kind of turn against the whole race of people is just not acceptable to me. And I'm getting a lot of abuse for it, but I don't really care.
And it's that idea, isn't it, that, you know, you've got attacks on the Jewish community, and the backdrop of that is obviously the horrors in Gaza, and this is a complex thing. But I know that, you know, you've always spoken out that violence is never the answer. Well,
I think you don't blame a whole nation for what's going on in America or in Russia or anywhere else, you know. I think it's really about your relationships with people. Do you know what I mean? I don't choose my friends based on their race or their sexuality or their age. I choose people because I like them and because they're good people. And I know lots of amazing Jewish people. If you don't know any Jewish people, maybe that's the problem. Do you know any Jewish people? Look at the choir, it's so weird. You know, as a country that's had a lot of pain, we should know what that feels like.
No, I know, and it's that idea that you must learn from the past and try to do different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, the silence, that's surprising me a little bit.
I think... you're also involved in Eurovision.
I am, yeah.
Which a lot of people didn't know, which has its own controversies this year. There's certain countries that are pulling out because of Israel's involvement. You're going to be representing who?
San Marino.
Okay.
Which it was so bonkers. I got asked to do it, and I was like, are you allowed to do that? And I like the idea of it. I'm sort of like a sax solo. I appear in the middle of the song and do a little turn, and it's very funny.
Did any of the controversy around Eurovision, did that play on your mind whenever you decided that you were going to do this, or is it just a music competition to you?
I think music is about bringing people together, not separating them. You know, and Culture Club, that's what we were in the beginning. We were a multicultural band. An Irishman, a Jewish drummer, Anglo-Saxon guitarist. You know, we were a mixture of cultures. That was the whole point of calling ourselves Culture Club. You know, we used to wear the Jewish star and have Jewish writing on our clothes. It was a kind of mix of the whole Rastafarian thing, reggae music, 12 Tribes of Judah. So, you know, that was always part of what we did. We are, you know, the Culture Club. And when I go on stage now, I look at the audience and I say, this is what community looks like. This idea that some of us live with a fence around us. If we're gay, we don't have parents and uncles and cousins and aunts. Nobody lives in a vacuum. I don't live in some gay vacuum. I live in the real world. I have 4 brothers that are straight. I have a sister that's straight. I have parents that were straight, as far as I know. You know, nobody lives in a vacuum. We're all part of the same world.
I mean, that idea of you've always known your own mind, and you've always kind of, you talk there...
More now than ever, I think.
Yeah, like you're talking there about, you know, getting some abuse online, but it seems to me that, you know, you're very happy in your skin, you're happy in your opinions.
Yeah.
Would I be right in that?
Well, I think it's good to know yourself. You know, I think as you get older, I personally think I've become a nicer person. But that's a choice. That's not an accident. You know, as you get older and wiser, that's not what happens. You have to make a choice to be different. And I love being me. I enjoy being Boy George. I never used to enjoy it because I didn't really understand it. But as I've got older, you know, time becomes more precious when you get older, and you don't really want to have conflicts with people. You want to have as much fun as possible, and I really do. You know, I landed today, had an amazing chat with 2 lesbians in the airport. It was amazing. Sue O'Brien, God bless her, they were so sweet, you know, and they came up to me and they said, oh, thank you. And I thought, what have I done? And they said, you were brave. And I never really thought like that. I never thought I was brave because I'm me. It just happened. I didn't choose to be me, but I choose to enjoy being me. There's a difference.
When you look back on your career and you look forward, I know that music is still, you know, a huge part of your life. You're recording so much new music. You're recording music. You're writing music. You're writing music with people. You're writing music with
AI.
With AI.
Yeah. With robots.
Yeah. How does that work?
Well, it's fantastic because you've got no one looking over your shoulder saying you can't say this and you can't do that, you know. You're still writing the song. You're writing... For me, like, a song is about the words. The words are everything. And if you have something to say, you'll find a way to say it. So with the AI thing, there's a kind of freedom that you don't have with musicians because they're always telling you, oh, you can't say that and you can't do that. And for me, it's given me an absolute freedom. I'm actually about to release an album called Fear of an AI Planet.
Which we all probably should have.
Well, not really.
No.
Because I think if you use it properly, it still requires your imagination. It's not... It can make some people lazy, but in my case, I don't think it's made me lazy. I think it's made me more creative.
Because our intelligence isn't artificial, and so we're the people that are actually driving it, yeah.
Well, I make art. You know, you still have to make it. You know, whether you get influenced by AI or whether you get influenced by seeing another painting, you still have to use your hands and you still have to use your imagination. So it's up to you whether you want to be with what's going on or burn books. You know, it's like when the CD came out, everyone said it's the end of rock and roll. When vinyl stopped, you know, it's a very old-fashioned attitude, and I'm not old-fashioned.
No, you're far from that. Look, we've loved having you back here. When can we see you back, maybe playing some gigs?
Hopefully, yeah. I've been talking to our lovely Sean Walsh, you know, was on the Jungle about doing something in Ireland, maybe him doing a comedy thing. Instead of having a band, have a comedian and do something like that, which would be fun. But yeah, I'd love to play here. I would love playing here.
What do we think the next chapter is? I know that things are constantly moving for you.
Loads of AI. Get ready for that. And I think it will surprise people. Because I think people are a bit like, they don't really know what it is. And, you know, I think I'm ahead of it. I feel like I'm really in it and I love it. And I think people will be surprised.
Well, look, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're delighted you've been here. Give it up one more time for Boy George! George will be at the Museum of Style Icons in Newbridge Silverware in Kildare tomorrow to launch Boy George, Chameleon of Style. It runs free of charge until the 1st of June. You can see newbridgesilverware.com for more. Now,